You're listening to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. Before we get started, we want to remind you to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/rangemindedpodcast, and be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, as well as Stitcher, basically anywhere else you can get your podcasts from. This is episode 48, the first of our semi-regular series, Getting to Know the Staff of Independence Indoor Shooting. If you're a regular listener, you'll recognize our first special guest, Sarah VanAcker, who's one half of the Independent Women Shooting Group here at the shop, plus she handles receiving of all the guns that come into and go out of the shop. And on top of all of that, she's a pistol instructor and a hunter's education instructor. So we talk about all of that, how she got into the gun world, and quite a bit more. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy episode 48 of Range Minded, the Get to Know the IIS Staff Part 1, Sarah VanAcker. Hello and welcome to Range Minded, episode number 48 from Independence Indoor Shooting.
48 already?
48 already. My name is Mark Long, and I'm joined by Steve Zimmerman from the great Idaho Falls. And we have special guest Sarah VanAcker with us. Say hello, Sarah.
Hello.
She is joining us today. Like we talked about last week, we're trying to do get to know the staff around Independence and kind of have a rotating third chair. And since Sarah did such a fantastic job on not one, but two episodes, we thought we'd have her on again. And everybody likes Sarah.
Oh, who doesn't love me?
See, it's your humility.
Maybe the UPS guy doesn't like you anymore. I don't know.
No, he likes me still.
That's a good thing.
I'm sure I have many enemies. I just don't know who they are.
They're hiding. I hope you guys don't mind while we talk. I'm eating one of my favorite delicacies, Cadbury eggs.
It's not even close to Easter yet, by the way.
I don't care.
That's
it's like illegal.
Disgusting.
You don't like Cadbury eggs?
I'm not a fan.
What?
Nope.
My favorite are the Reese's that are shaped like eggs.
Yes.
Just an excuse to eat Reese's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not like this sugary goodness?
I liked them when I was a kid, but that was a long time ago.
So you're saying I'm juvenile?
Maybe. Indirectly.
You'd be correct.
I'm not disagreeing either. But anyway, so so we're starting with Sarah on our Get to Know the Staff IIS shooting tour. And yeah, you you've been the Independent Woman, or you what's your official title with the Independent Woman?
Oh, I do have a title. I am Vice President of, oh goodness. Now I'm not going to be able to remember what it is because it's something cool.
Big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, there we go. So Vice President we'll go with, and big deal of the Independent Woman. I would say the other half of the Independent Woman too, because it's you and Jessica really that run the show. And you handle all the receiving here, so you get all the guns that come in, right?
I do. It's awesome. I get to touch every gun that comes in.
Yeah, I was going to say, so anything that's cool, Sarah's already touched it.
Yep. I see it before you do.
Yeah, when my Walther P38 came in a couple weeks ago, that you were the one who was able to handle all that stuff for me. So, and you are an official hunting instructor, right? Certified hunting instructor.
I just got certified. It's awesome. Right.
So we want to talk about all of those things and more because, you're a great person.
Oh, thanks.
And we're happy to have you here. So let's start.
I am humble too. I really. So I'll just talk.
I'm kind of a big deal.
But no, let's start with kind of how you got involved here at Independence and what your story was that led you here.
My story. Let's see. I was in the insurance, medical insurance field at the local hospital here for a while, for 7 years. And I got remarried and decided to become a stay-at-home mom for another 7 years. And my husband was started an ammunition packaging company. So we were involved in that arena in the firearms industry, and it was pretty intriguing. Then the kids were getting older and no longer needed me around. So I decided I needed to start looking for a job, and lo and behold, Independence was hiring. And so I applied, and I got the job as an inventory. I don't think it was an official title, but I was the inventory person.
It's just kind of where we stuck you.
Yeah. They were just like, here, do this. And I was training, and here I am.
Yeah. And then you You eventually became an instructor, or a pistol instructor, right?
Yeah, it was neat because I took we were required to take an RSO class. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome.
And during that class, I mentioned that I was interested in becoming an instructor because I was wanting to teach women. I really wanted to promote women in the sport. And Steve and Ricky decided to help push me into becoming an instructor. And I've been doing it.
She really had no choice. We just pushed her.
Well, that's exactly how I wanted it to sound. No. Well, it was really out of my comfort zone because I'm a pretty quiet, I keep to myself. I'm generally a shy person, so teaching in front of a bunch of people was terrifying. But
you're not shy.
Not to you, no. But after that first class, it was awesome. I was so excited to see how the ladies, when they left the class and they were happy, and I didn't freeze. I didn't fall apart, and I actually sounded like I knew what I was talking about because I did, and it surprised me. And here I am now. It's been over a year.
Time flies, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I was realizing that the podcast is almost a year old too.
I know, it's awesome,
which is crazy. We've done a podcast every week without fail for almost a year.
Rain or shine.
Yeah, rain or shine, all 4 seasons. Yeah. But cool. So then, and then most recently you got certified to teach Hunter's Ed, right?
Yes. I'm very excited about Hunter's Ed.
So because you are a hunter, right?
Yes.
And you're married to a hunter.
I'm married to a hunter. I'm pretty sure it's in our marriage contract that I have to hunt. And it's something that I've enjoyed tremendously for probably about 10 years now. And getting the opportunity to become certified and do classes with Rob and eventually on my own, it's fantastic. I love it.
And Rob's a lot of fun to teach with, I bet.
Rob is hilarious and he's very entertaining. And I love watching him teach.
Yeah, we had old man Rob in when we were talking about safes because he knows a thing or two about safes. And yeah, he was an entertaining guy. We have to have him back on, maybe talk about Hunter's Ed a little bit. But yeah, I can only imagine what class either teaching or learning from him has to be like. That's got to be kind of crazy. So,
and if you want to talk the Raiders, if you want to talk the Raiders or Remington, he's the one to talk to.
Old man Remington Rob, yeah.
Poor Rob. No one wants to talk about the Raiders, though.
Yeah, they consistently lose. That's all I know about the Raiders. And it's coming from a Bears fan. Yeah. So just throwing that out there. Tell me a little bit, though, how Hunter's Ed is a little bit different than instructing pistols, if you could.
Well, instructing pistols is a little more, I guess, straightforward. You're just showing the parts of a pistol and how to use it, just black and white. Whereas hunter safety, there's a lot more to it. You have to go into the laws of the state, the ethics of hunting, what you should do. It's lots and lots and lots of safety. There's so many different parts that you have to think about that involve safety and a lot of ethics.
All the boring stuff.
All the boring stuff. We really like to bore the children and the adults to death. Is what our aim is.
Well, it's all the state, really, right? That's making you do that.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's interesting, but the kids, they're used to being in school all day long. So you put them in a class, they're half asleep. Rob's very entertaining because he knows it's a little bit dry material, so he kind of makes jokes about it, but
he spices it up a little bit.
Yeah, he makes everyone giggle. It's just, I like personally to teach a lot more of the ethics because that's becoming such a major issue now with so many more people moving to the state. We see a lot more unethical hunting going on. So me personally, I want to emphasize how to hunt without being a jerk.
That's a good thing. Because, yeah, well, you've been hunting, you said, for 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah, so you very, very experienced with it. And I'm sure there are right ways and wrong ways to do things. Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of changes since I've been hunting seriously for 10 years, but we started, plinking immediately after I met my husband. It was, 14 years ago. And it's so different than it was. We used to have a lot more space, and now there's a lot less space and fewer places for people to go out and shoot. And there are a lot of people who are very unaware of, I don't know, I think the world around them as a whole. So it's
That's an epidemic that's going on everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's true. Everybody, I mean, even just driving around here, you see people who are texting and driving on their cell phones and they have no idea what's going on. I see it every day.
Well, and it's really important for us. The hunting world, unfortunately, is kind of, there are fewer and fewer hunters. It's not a growing sport. Women are growing in it as a genre, but the sport itself is kind of going away. And so it's up to us to keep our image up and encourage more people to hunt and fight the anti-hunters and, spread the good word. So
it's really sad too, if you think about it. I mean, that's been a tradition from the beginning, is hunting, whether it's father and son or husband and wife or even mother and son. I'm sure that happens quite a bit too, or mother and daughter, they go out hunting.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of sad that it's, hopefully it's not dying. Maybe it's just changing, but I don't know. There's so much going on that it is tough, especially in the Boise Valley. There's more and more houses being built, farther and farther out of town. So all the good between squirrel hunting and large game hunting, it's kind of vanishing.
Yeah, that was kind of a rite of passage in our little redneck area of the woods. You go out south of town, and that's how you got started hunting, was shooting varmints and, whistle pigs and just getting your bearings, learning how to handle the gun. And now you can't really do that because there's so many people. And I like to tell the ladies in my basic pistol class when we're talking about knowing your backstop, about the story of we have been out in the desert shooting and heard bullets whiz by us, and that was pretty much the end of it for us.
Yikes!
The end of the desert. It's really unfortunate because it can be.
You're supposed to return fire.
We couldn't see these people; we just heard the bullets, but.
We'll just randomly return fire and
start shooting
in a circle. Yeah, no big deal.
I don't know why we didn't think of that.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're saying to violate Rule 4 of the 4 safety rules of gun, 4 gun safety rules, Steve? Is that what you're saying?
Only for the sake of comedic entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because even in the 2.5 years I've been here, I mean, it's definitely more crowded. There's definitely more houses. Things are... you're going to end up seeing houses south of the airport, I bet, pretty soon here, because that's where, all the BLM land is that you can go shoot. At least the stuff that I know about, you just go south of the airport for 20 to 30 to 40 minutes.
I don't know if that's going to happen too much there because you got the prison and stuff right there. Pretty close to that.
You'd be surprised. I mean, in the Chicago suburbs, there's stuff all around prisons. So it gets crowded enough. People want to live there. You got to house them somewhere. Maybe
they'll feel the safest there.
Right by the prison.
I don't know. Reverse psychology.
Sure.
Well, that's something interesting too. Is I've never hunted before. I have no problems with hunting. It's something that I actually at least want to try once because I've got some friends who do it and they've invited me out. But I do need to take a hunter safety class. So,
well, I know where you can do it.
I have an idea or two as well. So, but I feel like everybody should maybe try it once, or at least go out hunting with somebody. Maybe you don't actually, pull the trigger or anything like that, but just to go out to see what the process is, and to learn more about it. Because one of the things I learned just in my life about hunting is that a lot of those hunter fees and tags and stuff go back to the conservation of the environment, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, ammunition, some of the tax off ammunition goes to that stuff too. A lot of people don't realize.
Yeah. All of our hunting license fees, not all of them, but the hunting license fees, and actually anything outdoors related goes, it's called the Robertson Pittman Act. And a percentage of that goes to, hunting.
Conservation and such.
It's awesome.
Yeah, which is interesting because a lot of people here are, so, adamant about conserving the land and, keeping it the way it is and all that. But if they don't want people to hunt, then there's the money for that's going to go away. So
yeah, I think that's a lot of people don't understand how much money hunters put into it. And once you take the hunters away, the animals, the conservation goes away also.
And I know a lot of, listeners understand this too, but the controlling the population of the wildlife is that the hunters are a key part of that. It's not just, you just go out and kill something just because you want to kill. No, it's actually maintaining a healthy ecosystem. And a lot of people don't understand that, or they choose not to look into why that is. It's pretty sad. Hunters play a huge role in society.
They do. And it's hard to educate people on that who are not aware at all of what we actually do. Dennis, my husband, has actually received death threats.
Really?
Email from anti-hunters.
Yikes.
With some of his pictures that he posts from his hunting, especially the New Zealand pictures. People just really...
I don't think I would mess with Dennis personally.
Well, it's always a random Facebook account.
I think he can handle his own.
Yeah, it's keyboard commandos and stuff like that.
Exactly. And just trolls.
But he's a long range guy, right?
Yes.
He's also a long range shooter.
Yep.
Like pretty well known, I think.
He can definitely handle his own on a long range. He's a smart guy, and we'll leave it at that.
He's all around awesome too. Dennis is a stud.
He's a good guy.
Nice. So in addition to hunting, you do the instructing, pistol instructing, and independent woman.
Yes.
And we've had you on before. We talked about independent woman a little bit, but let's kind of go over it again and tell me how you got involved with that, and what the mission is behind independent woman.
Well, the club got started. They just wanted a club where women could get together and shoot and share. It's hard to find like-minded women in the shooting sports. So we wanted to form a club, I shouldn't say we, I had nothing to do with the formation of it, but Ricky and Brenda wanted to start this and get women together who like to shoot or who have an interest in shooting, and just it's basically just a nice little club for women to get together and feel comfortable talking about firearms and the issues they're having, or questions they have. And it's such a tight-knit little group that's formed. It's so fun to watch these women on Mondays and Thursdays and the friendships they've formed, and really watching their progress has been fantastic. I was thinking about that yesterday. Most of these women that started in this club had very little to no firearm experience when they started, and now they're in there shooting like crazy and wanting to compete and, putting holes in holes at 15 yards and targets, and just super excited about it and sharing with their friends. And I just love watching them progress and see that excitement. And it's fun and it's growing, and I just love everything about it.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say?
How does that, I was going to ask Sarah, how does that make you feel to be a part of that group? I mean, how does that make you feel? I guess that's the start there.
Well, it's just so exciting when the women thank me and thank Jessica and tell us how awesome we are. And it's very humbling, because I feel like I should be sitting in the seats with them sometimes, because it's, I've only been shooting handguns for just over, I guess it's pushing on 4 years now. And I remember very distinctly how that all felt, and being so scared and nervous, and how great it felt to progress and learn and become trained and find out that I was good at it and could do it independently. And just to be a part of that group is amazing. And I am so excited that I get to teach these women and be a piece of that.
No, I think it's awesome.
And watching Jessica is fun too. She was my instructor for a long time, and watching her teach is always great. I just love Jessica. I would follow her around all day long if I could.
Yeah, she, it's funny because in the last episode, we talked briefly about Jessica, and we concluded that she's a honey badger because she doesn't give a damn.
I told her about that, and she's like, "What?"
Yeah, I was wondering how that got back to her, because she texted me yesterday. She goes, "Honey badger, what is that?" And I go, "It's because you don't give a damn." And she got a kick out of that.
Has she not seen the video?
No, I don't think so.
She saw the video and sent it to me. And so I was
good.
like, yes, that's exactly what you are. She just doesn't stop.
Yep.
She will not stop. She is a go-getter.
I was wondering how that got back to her.
I think we need to get her a T-shirt made.
Honey badger? Oh, yeah, I think that would be good. Because I thought Steve might have told her, because she texted me out of nowhere. And then, so now I know it was Sarah who listens. Who's a podcast listener.
No, I haven't talked to her this week. I need to. Well, I'll be over there. I'll be over there next week.
Well, I thought it was very apt. It was very fitting for her, because she just is going, does not stop. She's always pulled in 50 different directions, and just.
I'm going to get her a patch.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
Find a patch, bring it next weekend. Yeah, that'd be great. So the cool thing is you're doing all these different things with independence, and still finding time to shoot, right?
Yes, it's not as often as I would like. You would think working at a shooting range I would get more time to shoot, but I just don't. And
It really does suck, huh? You can't ever get out.
Kind of like the double-edged sword. It's like, man, you get to be around all these guns all the time and all this shooting, but you never get to shoot yourself.
I got my new SIG, my P320 that I got for Christmas, and I've been able to shoot it 2 times since I got it. And it's kind of tragic. But
did you get the X5?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got some trigger work. You got it back from sending it off to get some trigger work done,
I did. I sent it to Grey Guns, got a competition trigger kit, so hopefully I can compete with it if I can ever get an opportunity to practice with it.
Well, that's the other.
That is a fantastic
It's a great gun.
That's the thing is you spend all day here every day, and then the last thing you want to do on your day off is come back into the shop.
Yeah, it's hard. I know I love my job, and I can't think of anything to complain about. But yeah, when I'm at home, I'm like, I just kind of want to stay here.
Just want to hang out. It's like one of those things where you wish you had like lived on some land or something.
Exactly.
And you could shoot out and out of your backyard or something. That'd be the way to do it.
Have a cup of coffee, shoot stuff.
Make breakfast, shoot more stuff.
That's a dreamy.
That's
I like
the life,
that.
right? That's all you need. So, but speaking of job and stuff, tell me a little bit about, the receiving part and the inventory management. I mean, how many guns do we have like in the store for sale? Do you have a rough idea?
In the store for sale, all I can tell you is that we're somewhere around 5,300 on our logs now. So that's,
wow.
I started when I came in here, we were at, I think around 400 had been processed. And now so that means that I've touched over 4,000 guns. And that includes transfers and stuff that guys have bought from other stores too. But yeah, it's a lot. I don't know how many we have here. There's hundreds here that are on the floor, but
yeah, it's an impressive amount of guns for sale.
Yeah, and the reason I brought it up is because if you've never been to Independence indoor shooting, A, you're missing out a lot, but B, we literally have like 2 walls of guns.
It's amazing. Especially the guns in the glass case always make me happy. It's just so pretty.
It does look nice. It actually looks really nice when the lights are like the overhead lights are off, but the display lights are on. It kind of makes it look like just come to the light of firearms.
We have these for you.
Yeah, we need lights on the.
It's a zen feeling.
Yeah, and then we need overhead lights for the wall. I think that'd be pretty cool to do too.
That'd be awesome.
So, in terms of getting, receiving all these guns and stuff, obviously, since the firearms industry is like the most regulated industry in the country, what's kind of the process that you have to go through? I mean, do you have to do anything with ATF or with US or FedEx or UPS, anything special? Or is it just, hey, here's 50 guns.
Here's a gun.
Yeah.
Sell it. That'd be nice. That'd be the
make your job a
ideal
little easier,
way,
right?
Well, that's the way the left thinks it
yeah,
is.
right.
We just give them to people as they walk in the door. It is a regulated process. You have to keep really good tabs on all your guns, incoming and outgoing. And as far as the shipping goes, it's just they have their own rules. It's usually for a handgun, you have to ship it either overnight or 2-day. With a long gun, there's very few regulations, which is weird to me, but then we have to check it in within a certain amount of time. We have to include certain documents with it, and we essentially just have to keep really close eye on it. We have to make sure all the numbers match, and we know exactly where it is at all times. And it's good. It's good to have to know where all the guns are at all times, but it can get.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of people think, it'd be cool to have an FFL. It'd be so awesome. I could buy all these guns. That would be awesome, but there's a lot more to the backside of it that people don't understand. It's the ATF is very meticulous. Like you can have an audit at any time, and like Sarah says, you have to know where every gun is. If it's been dispositioned or if it's still in stock somewhere, you have to be able to prove it, and can be tough.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to it once it leaves my hands. The paper trails, and we have the compliance guys that have to handle their end, and that's a job within itself. And there's quite a bit to it.
Yeah, and not to mention all just the new guns that come in, but you had a handle. I mean, you have your hands on every transfer too that comes in.
Yeah.
Like I bought my P38 was from Gun Broker, and you had to process it and put it through and everything, but the guy didn't even have the right information, or he didn't have all of the info, so you had to I think email him to get his info, right? Yeah,
because we can't check him in without their FFL information, and so we have to make sure all our ducks are in a row and that their ducks are in a row, and we got it all taken care of. And
Oh, yeah.
Usually there's no problems, so thank goodness for that. All the other FFLs are well aware of the process.
And that's good to know, too, if somebody has thought about buying a gun off a gun broker or Guns America, or, anything of those big major websites on how, it's not a daunting, scary thing to do. It can be frustrating, but it's not a hard thing to do to have a gun shipped to you from, off of Gun Broker.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy. I mean, don't want to give people it's straightforward. Let's put it that way. Because there is a process to it, and you have to have an FFL, that's willing to take that, because if you don't know, you can't ship a gun from one private party to another over state lines. You can't even do that within state lines, I don't think.
Yeah, even a private party sale, that's technically against the law. If you drove across to sell a gun into Utah, or somebody from Utah came over to buy a gun from you here in Idaho, that's a federal law, and that's a no.
Yeah, you can't do that. So there's a lot of rules that go into that. And yeah, even as an FFL, you got to follow all the rules and keep tabs on everything. So
yeah, if you want to keep your FFL, you have to do what they say.
Yeah. So you have to have a pretty detail-oriented mind, right?
I would like to think so, but I would say I have controlled scatterbrain.
And then also you have to, is it any different with silencers or SBRs or anything like that?
There's a few extra steps for silencers and the NFA items. You have to keep more paperwork, and there's obviously that weight. So we have to hold on to a lot of SBRs and silencers waiting for the approvals, and it's more expensive.
But the beauty of independence is it goes in the vault, and you can come shoot it on the range while you're waiting for your paperwork to come back. So it's not lost for 6 to 9 months. You can use it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just in jail, so you have to make a visit.
Yeah. Conjugal visit.
Yeah. But yeah, you go back in the vault, and they're all just sitting there in their boxes with names on them.
Yeah, we have a lot.
There's quite a few out there. I'd say at least a couple dozen.
Yeah, at least. There's many.
Well, at one point we had, I bet you we had 150 waiting for paperwork to come back. Oh yeah. There was a bunch back there. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff back there in that vault. So, and Sarah's all responsible for it.
That's
to a degree.
No pressure, Sarah. No pressure.
Yeah, yes. When you put it that way, right? So, so that's kind of. I'd say you do quite a bit around here, between instructing, hunter's ed now, independent woman.
I have a lot of little weird jobs that get thrown at me, and I think we all do here and there. But I design banners and print ads, and some of the graphics that we put on advertisements, and I've done that, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But it's getting so busy. I'm getting so busy to the point where I'm not able to keep up. So, so I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. With the instructing and everything going on, I'm pretty strapped. But since I'm so awesome, I know I'm going to be able to figure out a way.
You got it.
Yep.
Special guest Sarah,
It's no big deal for Sarah.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, but did you ever think you'd work at a gun shop? Like what surprised you most about?
No, never in a million years. I like to tell the ladies in the basic class, 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you if you had told me I'd be working at a gun shop. And so this is, I started it as a kind of a fun job. I thought it would be interesting, and gosh, I get to play with guns. You can't complain, but it's turned into something where I'm pursuing the instructions. Awesome. I just can't get over how much I love it. And so getting more education as an instructor and getting into more classes, it's been an interesting shift in the way my life is going. So
yeah, it's exciting though. Like you said, you like your job, and
yeah, I love it here.
I work with a lot of interesting people.
Yes, you meet some very interesting people. It's such a good industry, just the firearm industry in itself. Yeah, there's it's quite a spectrum of people, but everyone's really, it's such a tight knit group. Everyone's willing to do anything for each other. It seems like it's nice.
Yeah,
everybody feel the love.
I'm waiting to see if Steve has a comment.
I'm speechless. No, I'm just agreeing. Yeah, I love it there. It's an awesome place.
And then another thing that we wanted to talk about too was we had a active shooter training last week that you were present for. Were you helping to instruct with that, or were you kind of a student of it?
No, yeah, I was just kind of an observer. The independent woman, actually, one of the women from the group said that she had tried to go to one and thought it would be a good thing for independents to do. So, yeah, the Meridian Police Department came over and put on the active shooter response, and we had 79 people show up for it.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was really awesome. And I wish I could remember the officer's name that did it now, because he was a fantastic teacher. He was very personable and funny, and everyone in the class liked it. And it was really interesting. I've been to a few active shooter classes, and this one was a good one. A lot of them you're falling asleep halfway through, but this one was good. And
entertaining.
And it was nice to see so many people show up. It was fun.
And was it a free event, right? Or?
It was free.
Yeah.
It was put on by the Meridian Police Department. They do that as a community service. You just have to have a certain amount of people show up. And yeah, it was awesome all around.
Steve, have you ever been to an active shooter training?
No, I have not. I mean, I've spent some time with some people that are very capable, but never in a formal class. And I wish that it kind of sucks being over here watching all the cool stuff happen over there. I can never get over there when I want to, but no, I'm jealous.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Sarah, what was kind of the biggest takeaway you got from this active shooter training?
Well, I've been through a few of them before, so a lot of it was just reiterating things that I had learned before. But what I was thinking throughout the whole course is that my kids are older now. I have a 20-year-old in college and an 18-year-old headed there and another 18-year-old. I just hope he'll graduate high school, honestly, but they need to know this stuff. A lot of the information that really, it would have been eye-opening for them. So I think if we go to another one, or if I go to another one, I'm going to take the kids with me, because a lot of this information would have been good for them, what to do and what not to do. And
sure. The
things that you don't really think about or plan for. So yeah, it was something that my older kids would have, and I think even younger school-age kids would be it would be a beneficial thing for them too.
Yeah. So what do they talk about? Do they talk about situational awareness, or more procedure, or defensive, or? Well,
they talked a lot about what has happened in the past. Generally, what weapons were used, I forgot the name, whether the person was male or female, what the statistics were.
Okay. So like case studies and
yeah.
Okay.
And so how that pertained to us is, this is what to expect. You don't need to expect, 50 guys with Uzis blazing in the doors, and it showed a few mass shooting events and what happened and why so many people died, or there were so many casualties. And a lot of it was just really common sense stuff. If you're ever going to go in a crowded area or anything like that, know where the exits are. And if you're caught in a bad situation, you need to know what to do, where to go. And yeah, a lot of it's just situational awareness, know your surroundings and plan ahead for things, even not so much mass shootings. But there he spoke about the fire. I can't remember the club, but there was a fire at a concert, and a bunch of people died because they couldn't get out of the exit.
Got trampled, huh?
Yeah.
That was a great white show.
Yeah.
The band was Great White, and it was in a seedy club or something like that. Yeah,
it's just this little club, and he pointed out that there were so many windows alongside the wall, and nobody even bothered to break one out, and how many people died in the little lobby next to the door, just trampling each other. It was crazy. So that's the kind of stuff that I would want my kids to see. Don't be a lemming.
Yeah, what to do in a crowded situation. Did they talk anything about concealed carrying at all, or was that not really a part of it?
There were a few questions with concealed carry, but it wasn't really geared towards people who are concealed carrying. The questions kind of veered towards, what do I do if I do have a gun and I'm in an active shooter event and I'm firing at the bad guy?
Yeah.
What do I do when the police come? Things of that sort. Those kind of questions came about. So we talked about that. And, So we kind of went at it from both sides, and it was a very educational class.
Yeah, because I think go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm glad there was such a turnout too. We've had some events in the past where it just was kind of lackluster. And it's good. I think people in the community are really thinking about, more of the seriousness of what could happen in a gun-free zone or anywhere, in a bank, at a restaurant. It can happen anywhere at any time. And I know we like to think that Idaho or Boise's pretty safe, but there's a lot of stuff going on in every state in the nation. Mm-hmm. And it's good to have some tools in the toolbox to be able to pull out whenever you need.
Yeah, and that might not even be a weapon or a firearm or anything. It's just the knowledge to know what to do. And we've talked about before defaulting to your lowest level of training. And, even if you remember only 80% of, what that training was, it'll be in your head, okay, I need to do this and get out of here or move to this, to this situation. Prepared. Yeah, for sure. So.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yep. Everybody needs to attend one at some point, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're not doing it more in schools or in like just any kind of general training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think knowing what to do in a situation like that, no matter whether you're for or against guns or anything like that, is going to benefit you, Yeah,
if you don't carry, if you have nothing, if you hate guns, I mean, you still need to know what to do if something happens. When you can't just you can't just fall down and say that's the end of it. And you got to.
Yeah. And play dead.
Yeah.
And I refuse to be a victim. And I think instinctually, I think humans aren't meant to be victims anyways. I think that's the whole fight or flight thing, right? Like you have a chance to really save yourself and your family, but a lot of people kind of dumb that down. And I don't know why.
Well, it was really interesting in the class. He showed what people do in these situations, what happens when they go into condition black and they just freeze. And it was crazy what people were doing, and we were kind of giggling at it. You can in hindsight, but when you're in one of those really terrifying situations, you get that fight or flight response, and it was really amazing. I'm sure, most of these people were otherwise just normal people, but some of them were just dropping and playing dead. Some of them thought they were dead. Some of them were grabbing bizarre things and going in bizarre places. And there was one incident where it showed two women cowering. There was an active shooter in a store, and they were cowering, terrified, right next to an exit door. And because they were just so scared, they didn't even bother to check that there was an exit right next to them. So wow. It's interesting what happens to people. Yeah,
I always try to say, I tell people that, if firearms ever comes up or anything like that with somebody who I don't know that well or whatever, I say, look, you are responsible for your own safety and your protection. And whether you want to carry a gun, whether you don't want to carry a gun, that's up to you. But really, your safety is really your responsibility. And I'm going to choose to protect myself this way, just like you have your own choice to do it that way. So, I think that's a good point. Regardless of whether you hate guns or like guns or whatever, you should kind of get that training, for an active shooter event or anything, just so you're more aware of what to look for,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, that's all I had, really. I know this might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but Sarah's great. Come say hi at the shop. If you get a gun ordered, she's gonna be the one to. Yeah, you'll talk to her. Or if you're a woman and you want some instruction, please come in and talk to Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you've never handled a firearm before. I think Sarah is a great resource, and
I am happy to talk about guns.
You're a calming force as well. I think you put people at ease. So
good. I don't want to make anyone nervous.
Yeah. No,
it's a bad place to do that.
Sarah referenced the RSO class that she took, and I'll never forget my first interaction. She knows what I'm going to say. The first interaction with Sarah, she did the whole rainbow thing with her hand. She says, "Hi, I'm Sarah." Oh. It's hilarious.
I was very nervous to do the RSO talk in front of a bunch of basic strangers, but
they get up and introduce yourself.
It was a great way to break the ice, apparently, because it was never forgotten.
It made an impact. That's
good. Yeah. No, I remember mine, and everybody was just kind of like, "Yeah, I'm so and so, and I do this, and blah 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 blah." And I could, if you lined up everybody in that class, I couldn't point any of them out. So
never forget mine.
I'm glad you made an impact. Actually, the only person I can remember is Steve. Because he was teaching.
Well, I hope so.
But that's before I really even knew you that well too. And I was like, and I came like ultra prepared, because I didn't know how long we were going to be there. It was like, okay, be prepared for like an 8-9 hour class, because that's and it took 8-9 hours. Sure did, right, Steve?
That was a really long class.
But I brought like a lunchbox with like 2 bottles of water in it and like a lunch and a snack prepared. And some hummus and some cheese and all that. I was ready for like a 14-hour
And he didn't even share.
No.
He's over there having a picnic in the corner and didn't even offer.
So yeah, no, and the RSO class was great. That actually opens your eyes up, I think, a lot to what goes on in a range. And you really like. Before I took the class, I really didn't concern myself with what other people were doing in the range. Like, okay, like
it really makes you aware of how many uneducated people there are with.
Yeah.
Uneducated and complacent.
Complacent, yeah, that's a much better term.
Yeah.
Because there are some very educated shooters that
that's very
do
true.
Very stupid things.
Yeah, and they don't think about it or like, oh, it's fine, I'm trained. But one thing I will say about the members of the Independent Woman is that you only need to tell them once.
Yes.
I've never had to tell anybody at the Independent Woman twice of, hey, leave your gun at the booth. You know, you can load your magazines or, you know, keep it unloaded or whatever when you walk away. Everybody's been great about that. They're very safety conscious.
As far as, they want to do it right.
Yeah. And I think that comes down to you and Jessica creating the right mindset. And Steve's going to laugh at me, but the safe space.
You're in a safe space.
To learn about it.
That's all right. That fits in that context.
As long as it's a safe space having to do with guns, then Steve's all for it.
I'd like to say they work twice as hard as anybody I've seen. I know I don't want to put guys down at all. I know.
Whatever.
Okay. Whatever.
This is a safe space, Sarah. You can say it.
But I think they fight twice as hard to fight that stereotype because there are a lot of guys out there that don't think that the women are going to be as good as they are. Or, you know, there's just a lot of uphill battles in this realm. So
yeah,
they work twice as hard, and it shows. They're an awesome group, and they listen.
Yeah, there's a lot of guy shooters are jerks.
Yeah, Steve said it. So yeah, but no, I remember you talked about last time some of the challenges that you face as a woman in the firearms industry, and you know, to be honest, it's kind of frustrating to hear that you have to deal with that stuff. But like you said, you just kind of learn to deal with it and move on, and just not really associate with those people. Yeah.
Well, and it becomes all that much more satisfying when you know that you're a better shooter or a safer shooter than the person who was kind of poo-pooing you before. So I think we all find satisfaction in being better than other people.
100%.
Maybe it's just me.
Well, and so now
but not in a selfish way. Not in a selfish way.
And so, yeah, the other thing I wanted to ask you, do you like handguns more now or long range, or is it just two different worlds for you?
Oh, it's just two different worlds. I love the handguns because it's my thing. And the long guns, I don't know, something about shooting steel at 1,000 yards is pretty awesome, I have to say. But I'll always be a hunter first. Yeah,
that's true because that's what you started on.
Yep. And that gets me out in the forest, and that's my happy place.
I was going to say that, and that's the other thing about hunting. To go back to that real quick, is that it's so much more than just shooting an animal in the woods.
It's, absolutely.
You know, you're out there. Sometimes you're out there for a couple days.
Yeah.
You know, and it really puts you in touch with nature. Hunting is something I really do want to do this year. A buddy of mine invited me. And so I want to try to make that happen in the late summer, early fall, I think is when his deer elk hunting season is. And the other thing about it is, I mean, you get the food. I mean, that's really the whole point.
That's all we eat now for
hunting.
Red meat is elk. We quit eating beef, and we don't eat much chicken because my husband hates it. So it's mostly elk and just things that we've harvested ourselves. And it's pretty satisfying.
Well, and you know where it's coming from, and it's all natural. And I mean, I remember somebody told me that, like, if you get a good sized elk, that can feed you for a long time.
Yeah, we have freezers full of elk. That's what we eat. That's what the kids will eat. The kids won't even eat beef now. And so we're kind of like, oh, well, we have to shoot something this year or else we're not going to be able to eat much. So there's a little bit of pressure until the kids are out of the house and able to get it on their own. But yeah, it's all about the experience, I think. There's a point where you just want to shoot something and do well, but then it develops more into an experience and just being with other hunters and being out in the open. We shoot in the desert and in the forests, and it's awesome. Last year I got to hunt in New Zealand, and I don't know if I can ever top that, but it's a wonderful experience, and it just gets you close to nature. And it's not about the killing at all. It's all about the experience.
Cool. Well, I think we'll end on that because speaking of independent women, we got to get back out there.
Yep. They're waiting for us.
Okay. So I'm going to offer a challenge to all of our listeners and to each one of us as shooters. This week, let's do this month. You need to take one person that's never shot a gun to the range.
I actually have a friend of mine who I think he shot maybe once before, but it's been a long while, and he actually asked me to bring him in. So I think we might be able to make an episode out of that. I think that would be fun. So, especially if you're here next week,
that'd be awesome. We like those guys.
We're always happy.
Yeah. So let's do that and try to report back and see. So
yeah, I'll even put it out on the Facebook.
Love it. Thank you so much. So, Sarah VanAcker, special guest Sarah, thank you so much again for coming onto the podcast.
Good to be here.
And thanks for being a listener, too.
I do like to listen to you guys. Makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't have anything better to do.
The honesty comes out.
While you're sitting there doing nothing at the desk.
Honesty hour right there. So, no, but thanks for coming on. And if you have any feedback for us, facebook.com/rangemindedpodcast. Email us, podcast@iishooting.com. Also, we're back on iTunes. If you've been having to deal with listening to us anywhere else, we had a little snafu with iTunes, and it's actually all my fault. I'll take the full blame for it.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Some login info error there. Yeah, but we're there. We're on. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and in March, I don't know, I guess this will play before the 9th.
Yes.
So I have that RSO class coming up on the 9th of March, 2019. So I know doesn't make this an evergreen show now, but
that's okay.
If it's something you're interested in doing, contact the store.
It's a good class.
It's a great class. We've all taken it. Some of us have taught it.
And plus, you get to hang out with me. So
yeah, you can meet Steve in person. I mean, that's worth the price of admission alone.
That's awesome.
Now nobody's going to sign up, but that's okay.
We have -1 people signed up for the class. So.
They want a refund and they've never even purchased the class.
Yeah, right. So yeah, let us know. But yeah, you can get us on iTunes again, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, should be everywhere again. So, but yeah, let us know. Send us some feedback, and until then, we'll talk to you next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Range Minded. Find us online at Range Minded Podcast on Facebook, or send us an email at podcast@iishooting.com. We're always happy to get feedback, episode suggestions, whatever you want to send us, really. And be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and pretty much wherever else you get your podcasts from. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.